Israel's 36th government is set to be sworn in. The proceedings have already begun and are underway, marking an end to Benjamin Netanyahu's 12-year term as Israel's prime minister, the longest-serving prime minister in history. So what can we expect from today's ceremony? And more importantly, what can we expect from this new government? Here to answer these questions and more are Rabbi Lipman, former member of Knesset of the Yesh Atid party, and Amir Weitmann, head of the Libertarian Caucus in the Likud. Welcome. So everyone is on the edge of their seats. A lot of drama unfolding today with the member of Knesset from Ram saying he will vote against the government just hours before the swearing in of the ceremony. Some still believing that Benjamin Netanyahu will be able to, pull a rabbit out of his hat and essentially prevent the new coalition from being sworn in. The Knesset is convening at this very moment, as we speak. But it's going to be a long evening, right? Lots of speeches. Bennett will speak, Lapid, Netanyahu, and all the party factions. And as they say, it's not over until it's over. So at this point in time, though, does it look as though it is set in stone and Naftali Bennett will be sworn in as Israel's next prime minister? Amir Weitmann, let's start with you.
No, listen, as you said, it's never over until it's over, but it really is over. The government will be sworn in. I don't think there's very much of a doubt about that. Of course, the question is, what will this government do? And the reality is that it's a left-wing government with an overwhelming majority of left-wing members. This government only has a majority because part of the coalition is the Ram party, the Muslim Brotherhood party. It's really the Israeli branch of the Muslim Brotherhood, whose avowed goal is to erase the Jewish state. So I can't say that I'm optimistic. I think it's after 140 years of Zionism, this is the first time in the history of Zionism and the state of Israel that an Arab party actually becomes a player in the political decision-making of the Jewish state, of the Zionist movement. And it's not any Arab party. It could be an Arab party which recognizes the right of the Jewish people to its homeland and its land, but it's not. It's the Muslim Brotherhood, which is committed ideologically to wiping us out from the map. So I think what happened here is that we gave these people legitimacy in exchange of political support for people whose public support is close to nil, but they only want to actually come to power. That it's only the will for power. It's only desire for power, lust for power.
Okay,
it's
well,
very
let's stop there. Now I'd like to
stage in Israel's political history.
I'd like to turn now to Rabbi Lipman. Now, many people are looking into this government and not giving it more than 6 months. Yet here we are. It's an ideal unity government with almost every member of the political spectrum included, even the Arab party, Ram, as Amir said. Now, they put together a very hefty list of principles they want to tackle. But, what are some of the main issues that this government must address in its first few days?
I think that your question is literally the answer to what Amir was saying. It is possible. I'm not saying they'll succeed, to put aside a lot of the extremes and put aside the disagreements and work on socioeconomic issues, on the economy, on health, on transportation, on all kinds of issues of inequality that exist in Israel, and really try to address a lot of the social issues that, what can I say, somehow haven't been addressed over the last 12 years. And it's very interesting to hear Representative Likud saying this is all about lust for power, or whatever was said. Let's remember, all Netanyahu had to do was move aside, even become president of Israel, and you can have an absolute right-wing religious government without a problem. So I'm not saying this government is necessarily going to last. I know that it's definitely a risk. But I'm watching the proceedings in the Knesset, and I'm seeing something which who have been working for unity in Israel for many, many years, see as a beautiful attempt to try something. And as long as that Arab party is saying, we are here to help the Arab population in Israel, which is desperately in need of help in health and education and in other infrastructure issues, let's give that a try. If it doesn't work, we at least can look at ourselves and say, we have tried to bring a way to all of Israel to come together and work on the most pressing issues of the day, which have sadly not been dealt with. And not only have they not been dealt with, we've been actually pulled apart as a people along the way.
Now, Amir, do you agree with this? I mean, what would convince you that this government will be able to hold it together? And what do you think are the issues that need to be addressed?
Well, first of all, It's not a unity government. It's 61 members of the Knesset out of 120. So it's really a government by the shortest majority possible. This is not a unity government. By the way, the outgoing government was a unity government, for better or for worse, but it was. Governments in the 1980s, for instance, were a unity government when you had over 100 Knesset members in the coalition. Or when Sharon, the first government of Sharon, when it was also a unity government, when the Labour Party was together. You could even say that the government where, the coalition where Dov Lipman was part of in 2013, 2015, was to a certain extent a coalition government. This is not a coalition government, certainly not when you have the largest party by far, the Likud, which is excluded from the coalition. So we're not talking about any sort of real national unity. So I would not build on a government like that to sort any of Israel's problem. I would be very happy already if it didn't cause too much harm.
Now, Rabbi Lipman, you mentioned the socioeconomic issues that the government wants to tackle, but what are some of the issues that could be potential minefields for the coalition? I mean, we're already seeing they have some serious issues to address in the coming days, the flag march, the Eviatal settlement, tensions with the Palestinians. I mean, how do you see the coalition handling these with such differing ideologies?
There's no doubt that's going to be the greatest challenge, anything on a national level and anything on a security level. If we, God forbid, entered any kind of a security situation and then the government is dependent on the 4 seats of Ram and even in the Meretz party, that's where we're going to have some real challenges. But the reason why I say that there's more hope than people realize is because of the relationship between Naftali Bennett and Yair Lapid. And this has to be emphasized over here. There's a friendship there. There's a trust there, as opposed to the past quote unquote unity government where Netanyahu and Gantz had no ability to talk to each other and no trust for one another, besides when they were in the pit dealing with security issues. This actually has that. And I do believe they might be able to navigate through all of those issues in a very delicate manner, and they'll be able to make it last longer than people think. But again, that's one issue. And the other issue is issues of religion and state. It could be that if the more left-wing, liberal, progressive side of the government pushes too far on the religion and state issues, where the more right side, the conservative side, the religious side might feel we're losing the Jewish nature of the state, that could also, that's another minefield which they're going to have to navigate through. But again, their focus will be on these other issues, and they're going to try to mitigate all of the difficult issues to the side. I do know the ministers are ready to roll up their sleeves and get to work in their individual ministries, and we'll have to see. And hopefully they'll be able to address some of the real pressing issues that exist in Israel today.
All right, Rabbi Dov Lipman and Amir Weitmann, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.